Hello, beautiful. Hopefully, my camera's looking better this time. But I wanted to bring to you today a very deep activation on calling in not just a masculine man by cultural standards, not just a provider, protector, manly man, like any of that, not just a man that you get to be performatively feminine with, but really calling in a God King level man, as I like to call it. So as a woman, I want to put this disclaimer out there. This is for the women who have already gone through this feminine resurrection, this ego death, this initiation into deeper divine feminine. This is for the woman who is already, or is doing the work on this, right? Is really stepping into the version of herself where she is already self-sourced. She's already whole inside. She has her own inner union of masculine and feminine already there, already together. So she does not need the masculine per se. She doesn't perceive this man, this masculine, as something outside of her that is going to save her, that is going to make her feminine. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. She's already gone through her own death and rebirth. That's key here. This is not for the woman who really is just looking for a strategy or something to say or do or act like, or how to be more feminine on the outer physical body or even emotionally. This is deeply for the woman who has done the spiritual work and is really desiring to call in the masculine so that she can play this polarity game with him. Not for, yes, for her own pleasure, of course, but not for validation. Not for her need to soothe something inside of herself that is really just an unhealed need from her inner child, from her lack of inner union, which is what we're doing in Sovereign Femme right now. We're halfway through. We just went through the princess to queen or princess to priestess portal, and it was immaculate, really. So I'll leave the link below for that. If you're like, I'm listening to this and you're thinking, wow, this is resonating with my soul, I know that this is really what's calling me in. I just really have no idea where to do it, which I feel you. It took me 6 years of inner work to really get to this. And I put it all into this one course, so you don't have to take 6 years to get to it. But I want to move into this, calling in your God King. Calling in your God King masculine. Now, this can be a version of your man, if you are already in a relationship. This can absolutely be a version of your man. Or if you're single or you're desiring a new relationship, this will be really the foundation, the key on what needs to happen. Those are so logical, but this is a foundation. This is a transmission. This is the activation for calling in your God King. So really, first comes first. We kind of already talked about this. If you're still here, you're probably a woman who is at least dipping her toes in here, who at least desires to go deeper, who knows that there's something deeper than just polarity, right? So this is the woman. You as a woman are not going to call in a God King level man. And maybe I should touch on what that means. A God King man is really the sacred masculine, the divine masculine, not the performative masculine, not just money, not just like performative shows of romance. But what this is I have my Blue Lotus tea. What this man is, and I have a whole video on this, but this is a man that has died to his own ego. He has gone through, or at least is really aligned with initiating himself into this is he's gone through his own death and rebirth, or is going through it. And he doesn't avoid it. He doesn't try to escape it. He doesn't try to run from the feminine void, from the feminine womb that he must go into. Like, he must exist in this first before he is rebirthed out of it as a new man, as a man who is really in his divine masculine, right? And he's not in the survival matrix. He's not in the field of, I don't even know where to start with this, but he's not in the avoidance field. He's not caught in the rat race of performative, of separating himself from God, really. That's what this is. He is willing to face himself. He's willing to face his own failures in the past, all the ones moving forward. He's willing to look at that. He's willing to look at how he has dishonored his own feminine. He's willing to build his own, or already has. He's already built his own masculine, inner masculine, so that he can actually hold his inner feminine. He has his own inner union whole. He's healed his inner child. He's not hanging on to searching in relationships. He's not looking for a woman, even if it's a feminine woman, who is going to challenge him, trigger him, all of that. He sees that as an invitation. He's not looking for a woman to meet a need that his inner child believes that he needs to have met externally. He self-sources his own love. He handles and holds and is the spine for his own emotions. If a man is not doing that for himself, if he doesn't have that level of consciousness, really, if he is not awakened to himself in that way, there's no way that he can hold that for someone else, really. So, absolutely, though, really, men are totally able to, if they are open to it, be initiated into this through a woman. Now, this does not mean that we build men, fix men, wait on men, like romanticize their potential, all of that fun stuff. Absolutely not. And we'll go into really what this means in the last point here. But the first point in all of this, to really attract that God King man, not the boy, not the potential, none of that, is as the feminine, as the woman, we must have reached this level of field, of awakened field, of self-sourced field. So we have our own inner union intact, of course, where it does not operate in the survival field either. It does not operate on linearity. We have become the self-sourced spiral. We have become the priestess. We have become the queen. We're no longer in princess mode, in performative mode. But we're in this level of feminine energy. And I use level just because, it's not like shameful to be in one or the other, but just to kind of show, it's like almost what you level up into, if you may use those words. And this degree of feminine, so this self-sourced, she is generating her own field from her feminine spiral. What does this mean? So her field is the resonance that she exudes, let's say. And it's going to literally resonate with certain level of masculine awakened men, certain level of consciousness. This woman does not play by the rules of Chronos time, which is linear time. She doesn't limit herself. She doesn't think that she's too much. She's done the work to where her inner masculine can also hold her inner feminine. Now, the survival architecture, that is the main thing, really, that most people get caught up in, and they're like, okay, I want a God King. Usually go through a phase where it's like, it's my birthright, I deserve it. You're right, but then we go into princess mode, where it's like, kind of avoiding the work on ourselves, or we think we can strategize our way out of it, or we can become this identity, which I've totally preached before. So, I mean, I've gone through it too. But instead of creating these identities where we're like, ooh, I think that this is how I have to perform in order to get this man, this level of man, it's more so, what is our soul identity? What is our soul identity? Because that is going to be, I mean, that is the only authenticity, really. And that is the only truth for you. So, I call this the Edenic feminine. Really, the true Eden here. And this is the feminine that is self-sourced, self-spiraled, generating her own field, generating her own resonance. And what's key here is that she's operating in truth. So, let me put this tea up so I can actually do this properly. But survival architecture, Chronos time, the matrix, the lies, the programming, the conditioning, that's all that we have here. This is not Edenic feminine. Edenic feminine is really the sovereign feminine, right? She operates on divine time, spiral time. She knows that time is not linear. She knows that her desires are not linear. She doesn't work harder for them. She doesn't perform better to get a masculine man. She doesn't do more in her business in order to align herself with wealth. She operates on resonance. She operates in Kairos time, which is divine timing, not linear. And this level of woman, this embodiment, this level of embodiment, really, this deepening, this depth of woman, this depth of feminine, she has gone through her rebirth already. Like, this level of, or this depth of embodiment cannot coincide, like that field architecture of sovereignty and of truth and of love and really God state cannot align with the matrix. Like, they're completely incompatible. Truth cannot align with lies, right? So just think about it like that. Like, we have lies here, the matrix, all of that, conditioning, programming, all of the falseness, the false self, the false light, the false masculine, even the false feminine, really. That's kind of what the wounded feminine is. And then we have pure truth, pure embodiment. Now, when we're moving from this, the false feminine, let's say, into more of the Edenic feminine, the divine feminine, let's just say that, what happens is a lot, like a total resurrection. Internal, external, spiritual, physical, like mental, so much shedding. And a complete rebirth as we go through this void, really, which is the cosmic womb, where you are being reborn. You are being shed of all of the BS. This is where it feels like nothing's working and like I'm not attracting what I want, and you're focused on fixing things and you're focused on shedding things. And then once we come out the other side, which I'm very excited to announce is exactly what we are going to be doing in my upcoming temple offering membership. So excited. But yeah, so once we do this, that's when we can truly start generating our own field. This is whenever we start to abide by the laws of spiral integrity. And this is where we would never, ever, as the feminine, would absolutely never build a man, coach a man, teach a man, like any of that. No. He comes ready, or at least ready to be fully initiated. At least fully ready to die to himself. Right? So that is the feminine embodiment that's really required to be resonant with the God King masculine. And there's no shame in this, it's just let's bring awareness to it so that we can move through it. You have to shine light on, awareness on what needs to be moved through. We have to be radically honest with ourselves. But if you're still in the more princess state and you're oscillating between, which is totally fine and normal, but when you haven't fully gone through that rebirth, that resurrection within yourself, the resonance there will not align with a man who is in his God King state. Like, he will not save you. A true God King man is just not there to save the feminine. Ever. Ever, ever. And she's not there to save him either. The goddess queen, let's say, the goddess queen feminine. She's not there to save the man. She's not there to have him pulling her down, right? And her having to like reach down to pull him up. Absolutely not. What happens here is that when we adhere to spiral law, is what I like to call it, where you are holding the field, you are not lowering yourself from the field. You are holding the resonance up here. Men will either rise to this, you actually collapse all of the timelines below your field resonance that are possible for you to experience, and they will rise to the level of your field, or they will be ejected by the spiral. Because it just cannot, there is no resonance. Like, it's incompatible, right? Like I said earlier, the truth cannot coincide with lies. So we can't mix them. It's just natural law, really. And so going into point number 2 is that he responds to this resonance. The God King, this is why you don't have to do anything more. You never have to do anything more. You don't have to perform better. You don't have to become good enough. You don't have to do any of these things. You don't have to like make your dating profile a certain way, or text a man a certain way, or like stay silent, not emotionally react if he says something you don't like. I mean, I've heard it all. I've heard crazy shit. No, it's all BS. I mean, that's literally all false feminine, false masculine, matrix conditioning. It's not the truth. But it totally is like profitable for people to teach, right? Because most people are in resonance with, I'm not good enough. In these loops, right? Of literal lies. But the system wants you to believe that about yourself because, well, that's a whole nother story that we'll actually go into on how that's completely suppressed the feminine and made you give your power away for decades, in Goddess Codes, which is my upcoming free masterclass. I'll leave the link below. Definitely want to be there. This one's going to be initiating, activating to say the least. So he will respond to your resonance. All you have to do is hold the field. That's literally all you have to do. It's very simple. Is be in integrity with your own field, with your own frequency, you could say, or your own resonance, and you hold it. And the divine masculine that resonates with your field, I mean, this can happen instantly. He can show up absolutely instantly. So this is how you really call in this God King masculine, is you've done the inner work, you hold the field, he resonates with that. Now, like I said, the death of himself, his own self, is necessary. Absolutely crucial. If he has already done it, you will know, right? But I think there are a lot of men who are on the cusp of this initiation. Not on the cusp of like, oh, I'm going to have to pull him up, or, oh, I'm going to have to do the work for him, or I'm going to have to coach him or teach him. No, that's not what I'm talking about. There are a lot of men who are on the cusp where they have the internal workings, they have the state, right? But nothing is more initiatory than the divine feminine. And so when he steps into the field of a priestess, whether this can literally be a friend, this does not have to be through intimacy. This does not have to be through dating him and, becoming exclusive with him or becoming it, marrying him or relationship. It doesn't have to be. That's a very deep initiation for sure. But it doesn't have to be. And so there are many men on the cusp that are open and waiting for this timing to align, for this Kairos timing of the divine feminine spiral to hit him. And what happens here, and you can tell, is this man truly in his sacred masculine awakening? Or is he talking the talk and he knows all of it logically, but he's not ready to fully embody it? This is the exact moment where you will know this, is that does he allow this initiation? Does he allow himself to really surrender into the void of the cosmic feminine? Does he allow himself to be completely stripped, naked, bare of his ego and go through this death and rebirth? Does he allow himself to? And if he does, yeah, he's literally being forged into a God King through your spiral, through your initiation, which does not take any more work for you, does not take any more energy or time or anything. It's literally you holding the field. This is why, there will be a man who showed up, I don't know, wanted to go 50-50 with some girl, let's just use that example, and then completely providing, spoiling for another woman, right? This is why this happens. It's not that one woman is better than the other. It's that one woman is collapsing and one is holding the spiral. So this is what we talked about last week in Sovereign Femme, was surrender versus collapse. Very important nuance there is that if you desire to truly have this hieros gamos, this sacred union with the masculine, with the sacred masculine, no more performance and all that, but literally experiencing God through each other, you have to be able to hold your own field without collapsing. Collapsing is self-abandonment. Self-abandonment for validation. Let me give some tangible examples here. So really, for maybe a better man comes along than you've been attracting, but he's not yet it, right? He's still doing his own work. And this is when you don't collapse, self-abandon, and just start dating him, for example, and going into relationship intimacy with him, but recognizing, okay, great, this is showing me I am attracting a more conscious man than before, but it's not to the level I desire. And so I'm going to use this as information that I can honor myself more. I can hold my field even more. I can go back into reverence with myself. I can really turn inward, in not a selfish way, not in an avoidant way, but in a self-honoring, goddess standards type of way. And I will wait. I will wait. Not because time is linear and I have to wait longer, but because this does not fully honor my soul. This man is not fully in truth or open to being initiated into it. So that's really the discernment there. And that comes from your own inner masculine being developed enough to be able to hold that. And so it's really a beautiful process. I mean, something I invite you to ask yourself, and something that I have been asking myself honestly daily at this point. I'm breaking open, really. I mean, I'm totally surrendering every single day, even deeper. But something that I really invite you to ask yourself is, what is the residue that's left? what am I still clinging to from this false feminine, from this matrix conditioning? What am I still clinging to that makes me feel safe but is not truth? That allows me to make things easy. We're perceiving it that way. Like, allows me to make things easy, but isn't aligned with love, really. What am I perceiving that is going to be so hard, that my ego is resisting so hard to not go through this feminine resurrection? Or, I mean, it can be feminine or masculine, really. This whole death and rebirth of self. Like, why am I resisting it so hard? Because honestly, we're like always resisting it. It's human nature. Now, I want to invite you into my free masterclass. So excited. This one's going to be insanely deep. I mean, I don't hold back on, videos or free offerings or anything. We go in deep on all of them. And I want to invite you into that. It's called Goddess Codes. We're going to dive deep into everything. I mean, really, if you resonated with this video, you need to be there. And also, just as a little pre-announcement, because I'm so excited, I'm literally bursting with this. I have a membership offering coming up. It's going to be 3 months of really, really intensive, really deep initiatory activations through feminine energy, through death and rebirth, into not a new fake false feminine identity, but truly one that's aligned with your soul path. And one of my favorite things that we are going to deeply go into, which is incredibly important for the feminine in particular, is sort of a solar beauty temple. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I'm a sun goddess. I love the sun. Always in the sun, always outside. And the sun carries codes that actually realign. I mean, it activates in our body. It actually decalcifies our pineal gland. It restructures the water in our cells. Like, it's insane. And so this has been, over the past year, the biggest catalyst in moving into these next level relationships for me, into moving into next level of wealth, honestly, in my business, with doing way, way less. And I really want to bring all of this into this offering and just give everything, give all of the activations that I know. So this won't just be like learning knowledge logically or anything like that. We're going to have really, really deep calls where we go through this, we activate this, and it's really me dropping all of the codes that I've already learned that took me a really long time to learn, and so much inner work, so much communing with the sun and God, and just like being really in this, right? And I want to give it all to you there. So I'll have more information for both, but definitely sign up for Goddess Codes. Oh my gosh, I'll be so excited to see you there. I'll leave that link below. And I love you so much. I will see you in the next video, and have an amazing rest of your day.